my wife announced, "I'm pregnant with your brother's child, and I'm keeping the house." I quietly replied by showing her the deed already signed over to my sister hours ago. I had also filed the paternity documents naming a third party, not my brother. That brutal revenge secured my sister's future and ruined her legal claims. Best Reddit story. Step 1 setup. I, Elias, age 42, male, had been with Vivian, age 37, for 9 years. I worked as a senior geopolitical risk consultant for a private intelligence firm in Washington, D.C. My salary was a stable $250,000 per year. I specialized in predicting global conflict and supply chain instability for corporate clients. Vivian worked as a corporate philanthropy director for a non-profit organization tied to defense contracting. Her income was a verifiable $150,000 annually. Our combined income of $400,000 sustained a high-status, image-conscious DC suburban lifestyle. We owned a modern house in Chevy Chase, Maryland, valued at $1,600,000. I drove a practical, used Toyota Tundra truck for its reliability. Vivian leased a sleek, large Lexus GX SUV to maintain her appearance at political functions. We frequented exclusive, quiet restaurants for necessary political and networking dinners. Our social life was dominated by Vivian's need to cultivate influence. My younger brother, Patrick, was a failed venture capitalist who constantly borrowed money. In late February, a significant career opportunity arrived that I had quietly pursued for nearly a year. I was offered the executive position of Chief Strategy Officer, CSO, for a major global asset management fund. The elite role was based in Singapore. The compensation package was exceptional and completely career-defining. It included a base salary of $600,000. Additionally, they offered a substantial $150,000 annual housing stipend. The total annual cash compensation was $750,000. I waited until we were reviewing the budget one evening before presenting the opportunity to Vivian. I explained the offer's significance clearly. "This job is the absolute peak of my analytical field," I stated. "It moves us to Singapore with triple the salary." I added, citing the massive figures. Vivian glanced at the document, her face fixed in immediate disdain. "Singapore is too far and too conservative for my political access, Elias. This is an executive role overseeing billions in assets." I responded, keeping my voice level. She scoffed, dismissing the entire proposition. "Chief Strategy Officer sounds like generic suit and tie bureaucracy." "It involves strategic, multi-national financial control," I answered steadily. She then focused on my brother. "Patrick's innovative risk-taking is more exciting than your predictable charts." Her open preference for my brother's failing ambition confirmed my entire strategy. Step 2, Update 1. I quietly accepted the Chief Strategy Officer role in Singapore the next morning. My start date was set for early May, allowing 2 months for precise transition. I began preparing for the move and the inevitable separation without involving Vivian in any specifics. I knew any discussion would jeopardize my plan. Vivian continued her pattern of repeating dismissive comments publicly. She often told her friend, Dana, a lobbyist, that my new job was a weak move. "Elias is trading DC. Power for anonymous spreadsheets," Vivian frequently told Dana. Dana and her husband, Ken, a government contractor, openly sided with Vivian's focus on visible influence. They questioned my judgment. "Why run from the center of power, Elias?" Ken asked me once at a dinner. "Professional growth requires strategic positioning," I replied factually. I initiated the final, decisive steps of my private preparation. I established a new banking relationship in Zurich to hold my offshore assets. I secured a small, high-end rental flat in Singapore's Tanjong Pagar district. Crucially, I maintained close, confidential communication with my lawyer, Ms. Chen. Hours before the confrontation, I legally signed the deed of our Chevy Chase house entirely over to my sister, Laura. I also quietly filed official documents with a private lab confirming a third party, Mark, our former driver, was the biological father of her child. Step 3 Update 2. The confrontation arrived abruptly on a Saturday morning in April. I had just returned from the lawyer's office. Vivian was standing in the kitchen, her expression triumphant. She had received a positive test result and believed she had ultimate leverage. "I am moving to Singapore in 2 weeks, alone," I stated simply. "The divorce filing is also complete." Vivian's face flashed with momentary shock, quickly hardening into rage. "You cannot move without a settlement. I refuse to be poor." "The relocation and the legal filing are both executed," I confirmed. "The situation is final." She launched into a fierce confrontation, demanding a massive financial payout. She claimed I was betraying her future. "This is an absolute betrayal of my commitment to you," she insisted loudly. "You consistently mocked my stability and judgment." I countered calmly. She then delivered the predictable, devastating ultimatum, believing the pregnancy and the house were her final leverage. My wife announced, "I'm pregnant with your brother's child, and I'm keeping the house." I quietly replied by showing her the deed already signed over to my sister hours ago. I had also filed the paternity documents naming a third party, not my brother. That brutal revenge secured my sister's future and ruined her legal claims. Step 4, Update 3. The fallout over the next 2 weeks was precisely as brutal as intended. Vivian's attempt to blackmail me with the pregnancy was met with the news that the house was gone and the child was neither mine nor Patrick's. Her leverage dissolved entirely. She immediately cycled through intense anger, disbelief, and finally, panic. She sent me frantic, unintelligible messages demanding an explanation for the house deed. "You gave my home to your sister," she accused me loudly in a text. "The deed transfer was legally executed this morning," I replied factually. She was forced to confront the separation and the massive financial damage to her anticipated settlement. She refused to pack or cooperate with any logistics. This denial was quickly met by a legal notice from my lawyer regarding the removal of her personal property. My sister, Laura, a brilliant architect, confirmed her plan to move into the house immediately. I remained calm and analytically detached through the rapid process. My focus was entirely on the high-level transition to Singapore. My emotional state was stable and entirely focused on the future. Moving day arrived with a quiet, efficient finality. I shipped my few personal belongings to Asia. Vivian was absent, locked in frantic, futile meetings with her lawyer. I flew directly to Singapore with a profound sense of forward momentum and control. My first detailed view of my new life in Singapore was one of immense efficiency and strategic power. My new office, overlooking the financial district, felt significant. My apartment in Tanjong Pagar was secure and modern. The work as CSO was demanding and intellectually stimulating. Step 5, Update 4. I was quickly thriving professionally in the new, high-stakes environment. The role required decisive leadership and precise risk modeling. My team was highly supportive and respected my ethics. Socially, I embraced the city's international, professional energy. I met a new circle of friends, including a compliance officer and an investment banker. I also connected with Dr. Helen Zhou, a geopolitical economist at my firm. Financially, the $750,000 package was excellent, and the strategic control over my assets was absolute. I purchased a high-end, reliable Audi e-tron for my travel across the region. My lifestyle improvement was controlled, focused entirely on quality of life and investment. By late October, 5 months into the role, I achieved my first major milestone. I successfully managed a complex asset restructuring, stabilizing a volatile emerging market portfolio. This success earned me a substantial mid-year performance bonus of $100,000. Vivian's old network began reaching out, curiosity overriding their caution. Dana, the lobbyist, sent me a tentative LinkedIn message. "I heard the Singapore fund is massive, Elias," Dana wrote vaguely. "The fund is experiencing significant, ethical growth," I replied factually. Ken, her husband, sent a cryptic message asking about my sister. They were clearly curious about the house and the true paternity filing. I remained polite but entirely reserved. Step 6, Update 5. In January, I cemented my professional success with a major public announcement. I was featured in a specialized financial journal, detailing my successful asset restructuring. I updated my LinkedIn profile, clearly displaying my new title: Executive Vice President, Chief Strategy Officer. This promotion confirmed my rapid ascent in the global finance sector. Vivian quickly learned the full, non-negotiable truth about my status and power. She had mocked my career, only to see me become an executive vice president. She sent a series of messages, alternating between demanding explanations and emotional accusations. "You ruined my life to secure your promotion," she claimed furiously. "I secured my career and protected my property." I responded with factual clarity. "You should have left the house to be split," she argued illogically. "The house was my pre-marital property," I countered. Dana, her friend, sent me an explicit apology email. She confessed that Vivian had misled them about my financial standing. "We feel completely foolish for not seeing your strategic power," she wrote. "My sister, Laura, called me from the States. The house is legally sound in my safe haven, Elias," Laura confirmed. Step 7 Update 6. In late March, Vivian visited Singapore, claiming she was meeting an obscure arts contact. She contacted me, requesting a final meeting to discuss her future. I agreed to meet her at a quiet, public cafe near the harbor. When she sat down, she presented a practiced narrative of emotional growth. She claimed she had spent the last year realizing her life was too focused on social pretense. "I now value stability and intellectual honesty, Elias," she insisted softly. "I am pleased you have developed that awareness." I acknowledged neutrally. She insisted she had changed, but I referenced her past actions and the consequences of her dishonesty. I mentioned the public rumors about the actual paternity of her child. "Your final act was a lie about the child's father," I stated calmly. "I was misguided by desperation and family pressure." She tried to excuse it. I then referred to my new partner, Helen. "My new partner shares my commitment to verifiable data," I noted. She insisted on returning, suggesting she could now be the perfect partner for an executive vice president. "I can be a brilliant corporate spouse here," she proposed quickly. I calmly declined the offer, explaining that the foundational trust was destroyed by her final, mercenary betrayal. "The ethical breach is absolute and permanent," I stated the fact. Step 8 Update 7. Vivian did not accept the decline gracefully. She attempted a brief, futile period of online retaliation. She posted anonymous claims on several financial forums, implying my asset management was flawed. She claimed I was an unethical corporate spy. My lawyer, Ms. Chen, managed the attack with efficient legal documentation. Ms. Chen immediately sent a cease and desist letter to the hosting platforms. She provided certified third-party audit reports proving the ethical rigor of my work. The claims were removed quickly due to their defamatory nature. Her online claims failed completely. My partner, Dr. Helen Zhou, posted a factual rebuttal on a geopolitical forum. She confirmed the scientific integrity of my risk modeling. Vivian lost all remaining credibility when the forums noted her comments were based on obvious malice. Step 9 Update 8. 1 year later, my life was stable, profoundly successful, and deeply satisfying. I was the permanent executive vice president and CSO. My wealth was securely growing. I was in a committed, highly compatible relationship with Dr. Helen Zhou. Helen was intelligent, respected my privacy, and provided constant strategic support. Our life together was based on mutual respect and intellectual rigor. In May, Vivian sent a final, short message. It was a brief email to my personal address. "I accept the consequences of my final choice." The email read, "I truly regret losing the security of the house and the life," she wrote, finally admitting the truth. I sent a short, professional, and final reply. "I wish you future professional clarity," I wrote. I immediately blocked the address. The entire past conflict was completely and finally resolved. Step 10 Final update. The following autumn, I was attending a private investment summit in London. While at a dinner, I was approached by Senator Douglas, Vivian's father, a prominent political figure in D.C. Senator Douglas looked significantly older and subdued. Senator Douglas apologized to me, his expression solemn and respectful. "I need to apologize for my daughter's conduct, Elias." He admitted his own mistake in fostering a culture of entitlement and ignoring the severity of Patrick's financial recklessness. He confessed that he had consistently dismissed my intelligence in favor of the perceived political power of DC. I wrongly taught my daughter that image provided absolute power. Senator Douglas stated, I regret that my influence contributed to her moral failure. He added honestly. I accepted his apology, acknowledging that his admission of error was significant. I explained that my actions were always driven by the necessity of defending my financial stability against inevitable legal risk. My reflection confirmed the final, enduring life lesson. The only true protection against betrayal is the preemptive, quiet securing of your core assets. I secured peace by calmly signing my house over to my loyal sister and proving my wife's final act was a complex lie. The quiet, logical closure came from knowing my methodical revenge had secured both my professional future and an infinitely superior partner.